welcome. I am going to reteach you guys how, just the basics of graph transformations. We're going to start with a linear function, back from Algebra 1, what happens when you do a vertical shift, what happens when you do what happens with a horizontal shift. So you have the regular function y equals x, okay? 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, negative 1, negative 1. So in black here, I've plotted those points, okay? If I take this whole graph, and I add a +2 at the end. And this goes for a quadratic, an x squared, a cube root, okay, any type of parent function. And I, at the end of my function, add a +2. What happens to that graph? The whole graph moves up 2. Okay, so if it was a quadratic, the whole thing, you add a +2, and if it's x squared, you add a +2 at the end, the whole thing goes up 2. Same for if it was a -1, the whole thing would just go down 1. Are you with me? Okay, so that's the basics of a vertical shift. Basically the same direction as the sign. If it's +1, it's gonna go up 1. If it's -2, it's gonna go down 2. Okay, horizontal is the opposite. So a horizontal shift, and I didn't graph these, but I have the parent function for a quadratic, y equals x squared. So plot those points, and I'll plot them in red. 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 4. Okay, the next one would be 3, 9. This is an even function because it's symmetric with respect to the y-axis. So there we've got a parent function of a quadratic, y equals x squared. So if I were to add a +2 at the end, the whole thing would shift up 2. Okay, what I've done is I have added I've subtracted 1 inside the equation. What happens with that is that's a horizontal shift, and it actually goes the opposite direction. It's because the graph paper is moving left 1, so it looks like the graph is, those points are all gonna move right 1. So without even having to do my XY chart, I can just take this function and take all those points and move them to the right 1. And usually I move my 0, 0 first. And then from there, I remember the orientation for the other points. From there, it's over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4. Okay, right there, done, graph it. And you don't need any more points than that. So I've done the shift. So there are different ways you can think about plotting those points with respect to that new 0, 0. I know Ms. Smith in Algebra 2 Trig used to teach it like the 1, 3, 5 version. Some student told me that last year, and I said, oh, show me. So however you want to plot those points is fine. If you want to make an XY chart, you can do that too. Okay, so that's the basics of the vertical shift is the same as the sign. If it's plus, it goes up. If it's minus, it goes down. If it's horizontal, it's the opposite of the sign. This is a -1, so it's going to go right 1. Questions?